Good morning, class. Thank you for joining the class early and in time. Now, I think in our previous lessons we have been looking at chromatography as a technique, and I would wish that one of you can remind us what chromatography is. Okay, Jenny, go ahead. Thank you. Yeah, chromatography said it is just a technique that we use to separate the different components in a mixture. And we have been looking at the theoretical part of it, but today I want us to look at how do we do it in the laboratory setup. So for today's lesson, we shall focus on paper chromatography as it is written on our board. And in front of us, we have different things that you can see, and each of these components is useful when doing our paper chromatography. I'll mention them. And number one, we need an absorbent material, and in this case we have our filter paper. We shall cut our filter papers, those on your benches, in a similar manner, and then we shall use them to conduct our experiment. Additionally, we require a pigment, okay, and in this case not a pigment really, but we have some inks that we shall use for our experiment. As you can also see, there is this solution which is in this container, and this one we call it the solvent. Now, when doing the experiment, I will expect you to cut your paper, and then number two, you are going to draw a line on it, which will be your baseline. It should not be at the very bottom, but somehow on top. Okay, so can you all see the paper? Okay, and we shall remember, we shall always draw a baseline using a pencil, and I think I explained the reason as to why. John, can you remind us why we draw it using a pencil? Okay, thank you. Yeah, that is the reason as to why we use a pencil to draw our baseline. Now, we shall now require to place a dot of our ink on our baseline, maybe in a similar format to this one. Okay. Now, then can we all see it? Yeah, this is what we need to do. And now number two, we are going to place it. We are going to place the bottom part of our filter paper in our beaker that contains our solvent. Then we shall allow it to sit for quite some time, maybe for 10. Now look at what we have after 10 minutes. We can now see this was our baseline. This is where we placed the initial dot of our ink, and as we can see, what has happened? Okay, Jacinta, do you mind telling us what you can observe? Sure. Yeah, we can see that our ink has stretched all the way upwards. It was carried by what? By the solvent up the paper, and as a result, what happened? Yeah, we can all see that we have the various components having separated. Initially, we just had the red dye, but from the red dye or ink, what has happened? We can now see that we have several pigments. We can see that we have some yellow, some orange. Okay, yeah, all those are the substances that are in our ink. Okay, yeah. Now, this is what I want us to do. We can see that as we have seen, our red ink is a mixture of three components. We can see we have the red part, we also have the orange, and we also have the yellow ink. Now, I am going to expect you to do the following in our groups. As we sit in our groups, we have all been provided with our filter papers and with the three inks, but in this case, I want you to just cut the three filter papers into maybe in a similar manner, and I will want you to now check these two inks. We have the blue one and we have the red one. Conduct the same experiment and find out whether they are a mixture of several other. Which are the various pigments that make up our black and our blue ink. And then after doing so, we shall now present our results, and we shall see what each and every group has found. Okay, we can start. We have around 15 minutes to do so. Start.